the strange truth about why thinking hard makes you feel exhausted. Okay. And you ever thought about that? So thinking hard specifically doesn't make you, I mean, you're not exerting yourself, right? I mean, are you? I mean, are you or are you not? Right? That type of stuff. I mean, maybe, but apparently there's some, again, emerging science that suggests that it's a very specific thing. And think of it this way. We've talked about the flow state. Okay. We've talked about, time flies when you're having fun. We've talked about other ideas like, they say if you do something you love, you never work a day in your life. Okay. This type of thing. Okay. Because you enjoy what you're doing and it doesn't have this mental toll on you. You're not sort of boiled down to, God, I got to go work, grind 10 hours today on a spreadsheet sort of thing, I mean, which sounds horrific to me if we're, kind of drawing lots for hell. Don't give me that one because, oh, geez. Yeah, talk about jumping off a digital cliff. And I mean that metaphorically. Everybody relax. I mean, that's the problem, right? Is that if you choose something you love to do, then you enjoy it. And you, of course, spend less mental energy probably stressing over it. And, of course, beyond that, using it to sort of manifest that reality of that flow state. Okay, well, back to this article now. So the strange truth about why thinking hard makes you feel exhausted. Real quick on this. So the myth that we use only 10% of our brains has been comprehensively debunked straight from this. Perhaps it persists because it's so appealing to believe that you could become a genius simply by learning to engage the dormant 90%. Hey, speak for yourself, a new scientist. In reality, no part of your brain is surplus to requirements, and it is always switched on, even when you are asleep or not thinking about much at all. But that doesn't necessarily mean that your brain burns the same amount of energy while daydreaming as it does when you are concentrating. We've all experienced that feeling of mental exhaustion after focusing on a tricky problem. Detailed thinking certainly feels like hard work, but is it? The answer is a touch more subtle than you might expect. And they're talking about exactly that. There seems to be an inhibitor in the brain, meaning that if you're having a good time and even if it's something, kind of challenging, but you enjoy the challenge, back to time flies when you're having fun and that whole bit, that our brains seem to be fine-tuned to make us avoid thinking, okay? Avoid all of this stuff. Avoid, and of course, I've got some wild ideas, but we'll start here. We'll start with not just that. This a quote from Carl Jung, one of my favorites, as you guys know. He was quoted as this: "Thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge." Okay. And you look no further than, sort of the drama fests happening all over the interwebs and people, just can't get along because they have to, everybody's judging each other constantly in the worst of ways and the most speculative ways and the most, you have no idea what's really going on in their life, but it doesn't matter. You're going to try and guess and you're going to try and angle shoot and you're going to try and, even rattle them and get them to give up some information. I mean, this is a world I don't want to be part of, right? I mean, meaning just the drama crew. And there is a whole batch of drama crew out there, right? And they're doing nothing but this, constantly judging each other, constantly putting each other to the coals, constantly trying to cause just pain and strife and misery for no damn good reason. When instead, we could be thinking about all manner of important, good, positive things, okay? But it still comes back to this same idea where we're like, okay, so thinking is difficult. It is very difficult. There's some other articles. All these are going to be linked in the description down below. But there's another one here. We'll get back to this in a second here. But what is it? Let's see. No, not that one. Not that one. Why thinking hard wears you out. Here's one. There you go. So this is from Psychology Today. To avoid thinking hard, we will endure anything, even pain. Even pain. You see, like there's some kind of like hang up where our brain seems to reject actual difficult thoughts. Okay? Reject entirely. And even where we will endure pain to stop from thinking. Okay. And again, back to the drama crew that's always out there. Thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. And that's why all of this, let's say the political spectrum, you name it, you guys know it's the Jerry Springer aspect of life is why we're dealing with this type of stuff, because people do not think. People have a very difficult time thinking. Okay. And look, I'm not the poster child for like a amazing thought or anything. I'm just me, and I try and do the best I can. And I think that's the point, is everybody should be trying to do the best they can. And that's my soapbox moment, and I'm going to shut up after that regarding this stuff. But it all goes back to this drama fest that everybody's so locked into, the Kardashians and you name it, right? It goes all the way on up to the top. What's Kanye West up to these days? I mean, really? Do we really care? Isn't it bizarre that they say that measuring the actual, let's say, energy your brain uses in a task where you're having fun is, the same amount of energy as it takes to do some difficult, deep thought. Okay. Something that kind of exhausts you. Right. And so energy wise, it's a net neutral, according to this article. Again, back to a New Scientist. Links are in the description if you want to read. Of course, it's a little more complicated than that because they're saying it's releasing some amount of a different chemical that sort of even discourages us from these deep style thinking, deep thoughts. Okay. Now, of course, you know me, and I'm like, wow, that's wild. I wonder if there's sort of a larger, me and my control mechanisms, a larger idea in terms of the control mechanism where this exact thing has been, let's say, a great, a massive challenge for humanity. Okay, not just in the past, but also moving into the future, right? And, we talk about AI and this type of thing. I do wonder if eventually AI will, emulate us in that same degree or not. I don't know. But it got me thinking in this. Okay, so if we have sort of this sort of control mechanism with our brain, with our own brain, our individual brains, that the same, let's say, power output or input or energy necessary to do something fun is the same as it is to have deep thoughts that make you exhausted, why is that? And it feels like we're being controlled somehow, some way. Now, where does my mind go? My mind went here. Okay. There's something called the Great Filter. You guys have probably heard of this. We've talked about this a number of times in the past, but here's the deal, right? So the Great Filter, and it is a possible solution to the Fermi paradox. And to boil it down just super fast on what it means, it's basically that civilizations have this problem, and the problem becomes when they are, let's say, so advanced technologically, they have a tendency to destroy themselves, okay? Or something to that effect, okay? Something very, very, very rudimentary here, okay? Let's see, does it boil it down? Okay, and here's some basic hurdles from this article just to fill in the gaps. So a planet must be capable of harboring life. A life must develop on the planet. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Never mind. That's terrible. Meaning we're way past that. Okay, but here's the deal. So what I'm proposing, and the question for tonight is exactly this. Is it possible that, let's say, the Fermi paradox and the Great Filter, and the reason why we don't have sort of interstellar highways through dark matter and aliens landing on Earth, remember, no truth here, just wild ideas and wild concepts. Everybody relax. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Remember the Stoic minute. But back to that idea. Is it possible that, let's say, the Great Filter of civilization is not out there somewhere? It's not in a larger civilizational aspect. It's in our own mind. Meaning is it possible there's a cosmic evolutionary cycle that actually keeps us from thinking difficult thoughts? And I don't mean individuals. As humans, we've done tons and tons of amazing things throughout the years, throughout the centuries, throughout the millennia, all the rest, okay? Clearly, I'm a fan of humans, and I'm not crapping on humans, okay? That's not what I'm saying. I am saying, how come if you appeal to like the most base emotion and you cause and stir drama, and as Carl Jung suggested, thinking is difficult, that's why most people judge. If you apply all of your energy to this, everybody hops on board. They're like, yeah, let's get on the drama train. You get it? It's like the ultimate mind screw derail. And I wonder if specifically this whole Great Filter is not external. It's not built into the larger context of civilization itself. It's built into this really stupid output of our minds, where thinking is hard, where it is difficult to come up with original thoughts. Is there such a thing as an original thought even? I'm not even sure. Nothing new under the sun, as they say. But you get the idea, right? It's and we all know people like this. You know, hopefully you guys aren't like this. I would think probably not for most of you, because you're here thinking about concepts that you have no idea what I'm going to be up to night after night after night, and you're still here because you like something new, because you're probably not into the Kardashians. No offense to the Kardashians. I mean, you know what I mean. They've perfectly marketed all of this weird business. Okay, so basically it brought me to this other additional thought. Okay, so the first question is this. Is it possible that the Great Filter of civilizations in the cosmos is built into an evolutionary cycle where we just cannot think deeply? as individuals, and it filters into society. And as a result, we are a mere shadow of what we could become, always and forever. You see what I mean? Kind of like a limiter on our actual minds, which is weird. Or like a governor, as they say, if you guys are drivers and they put governors on some vehicles so they can only drive 55 miles an hour or whatever, something like that. Okay, but it doesn't seem strange. And so what am I missing? Of course, I'm always missing things because I'm only me. But the deal is this: if you have some sort of governor on your brain that's like, okay, if you want to run off and, eat lollipops and watch the Kardashians, it's like the massive dopamine hits, right? It's like, but still, mathematically, energy-wise, they say it's the same amount of energy. Back to this article, citing the New Scientist article. But there's a particular chemical that seeps out into your brain, and there's some rearrangement of this energy cycle within that actually makes you exhausted when you think deeply, when you think about challenging aspects and challenging puzzles. You think about that. Think deeply about that. If you start to get a headache, battle through it. Battle through it. But you see what I mean? Incredible thing that we can consider, that if it's the same amount of energy and one thing doesn't tire you out, but then the other thing does, it's almost like we've been built to not think. It's like we've been limited somehow, some way. And that part creeps me out a little bit, because if that's the case, think about how much we're leaving on the table as a society, as individuals, as collectives, as learning groups, as you name it. You name it. However you can group people, it means we're leaving an unbelievable amount of energy out there that we could be doing positive things with. And as you know me, look, it drives me nuts. The concept drives me nuts because I'm here trying to do the opposite every single day. Look, am I human and all the rest? Of course. And am I not doing all those things all the time? Of course, because I'm human. But for crying out loud, I'm trying my damnedest, okay? And there's something to that, as I've always said, back to the Stoic Minute and some of this stuff. And here we are. So that's the question as we start. There's this weird bit of the great filter of not just, let's say, why civilizations aren't, zipping around and landing on the moon and then flying us out to Alpha Centauri for a, nice vacation visit. Is because maybe everything out there is limited in such a way to where when they begin to think deeply about anything, they become exhausted. You get me? Seems strange, right? If the energy output is exactly the same, it seems to me like something here, well, is amiss.